Britney Spears is once again concerning fans with her strange and worrying behavior. She just posted a photo of herself naked on Instagram. She posted a naked picture of her from behind and covered part of her butt with an emoji of a rose. She then decided to turn the comments off on that post. Now she then did the same thing again hours later, still with the comments off. This time though, she blasted her marriage and revealed that it was a fake distraction to her. Now Britney and Sam Asghari were married in June 2022 before Sam filed for divorce in August of 2023. Their divorce was finalized in May 2024, with Britney being declared legally single in December. Now to be honest, some people had been worried about Britney and the marriage and that Sam was doing it for the wrong reasons. Now after the breakup, Sam said, "You learn so much from being in a relationship in general," he said in July 2024. "I appreciate all the amazing experiences that I got." He then emphasized that their marriage was something that's always going to be a part of me, and he would always celebrate the past. "I wish her the best," he added. "She's an amazing person and a huge part of my life, and I always appreciate the moments we had together." But now Britney has been speaking out and has a different story. Now she captioned her new Instagram post, "We're just people so fragile and human. The hardest years of my life were my 2 sons gone for those 3 years. I was cut off from calling or texting, and I remember in shock my secret to survival was denial and a lot of tears. It's weird for me and Sam were married, but it almost felt like a fake distraction to help me deal with it." She added, "I know I'm healing because I'm hungry again, like a child or baby. I'm so hungry that it hurts when I eat. It's like my first time ever eating in life. I believe although I loved my home, there is way too much abuse and trauma in there. Today, I thank Jesus for food, and I feel like telling others no, owning my body and letting them really know where I'm from," she added. "My soul has never experienced food like this a day in my life. So silly and embarrassing. I'm gonna go eat cookies and ice cream now. God bless you all." Now, hours later after this post, she deleted the caption but still left up the picture. Now, Sam later responded to what she said through his representative, saying, "Our marriage was very real to me. It may have been short, but we were together for 7 years. I was in love with her, will always have love for her, and wish her the best always." Now, this is just one of the many posts Britney has made that has been concerning people. She's been posting strange dancing videos where you can see that her house is a complete mess, and some things she's saying aren't making sense. Fans are worried for her and hope that she is doing okay.
It's Britney back in the headlines, and this time fans want to know, is she okay? You know that feeling when you open Instagram hoping to see your pop princess living her best life, and instead you're left saying, "Britney, what is happening?" Well, that's exactly where fans are right now. On August 19th, Britney dropped a video from her house that had people everywhere talking. She's in a polka dot crop top and pink shorts. I mean, her dogs are running around, and yes, there might have been dog poop on the floor in the background. Now she starts kind of belting out Rihanna's Unfaithful in a full-on British accent, and while the energy is giving karaoke after 2 margaritas, the setting is giving chaos. The caption read, "Messing around with lighting and cleaning my house like no tomorrow," which honestly feels like Britney trying to tell us that she's fine, but the internet is not convinced. Fans lit up the comment section. Well, not hers, because hers are turned off of course, but on X and everywhere else people could talk. One person wrote, "How are people not more concerned about Britney Spears and the stuff she posts?" Another person said, "Sad to watch her like this." And then came the big one. Some people were actually calling for an intervention. That word alone stirred a massive storm, because if there's one thing fans have rallied against since 2021, it's controlling Britney. But as always, the fan base is divided. For every person begging someone to step in, there's another insisting Britney is just trolling us. Some believe she's leaning into her old "you think I'm crazy, I'll show you crazy" persona, turning it into like kind of performance art. One fan even wrote that Britney doesn't care about society's approval because society already failed her, and honestly, that theory does line up with her vibe. Then, just 4 days later though, she upped the ante. Britney posted a nude photo, arms stretched up, back to the camera, only wearing black knee-high boots with a single rose emoji covering what needed to be covered. No caption, comments disabled, but in less than half a day it pulled in over 200,000 likes. It was classic Britney, provocative, unapologetic, and totally polarizing. And this wasn't just a one-off. Over the past few weeks, Britney has been serving content that ranges from like funny to confusing to flat out concerning. Videos of her dancing outside to old Justin Timberlake tracks, speaking in random accents about snorkeling or twirling in her closet while surrounded by piles of clothes. She even posted bikini videos where she switches accents mid-sentence, talking about Turks and Caicos like she's auditioning for a role nobody asked for. It's eccentric, it's unfiltered, and it's very Britney, but it's also making a lot of people really uneasy. I mean, since the conservatorship ended in 2021, Britney's social media has been her only way to communicate with fans. No managers, no PR team, no carefully curated pop star image, just Britney, raw and unfiltered. And while that freedom is something fans fought very hard for, it also means that, what you see is what you get. I mean, the problem is sometimes what we're getting feels less like empowerment and more like a cry for help. But let's not forget, there have been some bright spots too. Back in 2022, she teamed up with Elton John for Hold Me Closer, a duet that felt like her first big step back into music. Elton even said, he wanted to help her find her voice again after everything she'd been through. Around that time, Britney also posted a kind of a stripped down a cappella version of Baby One More Time, reclaiming one of her most iconic songs in her own way without anyone controlling how she sounded. Those moments were hopeful, proof that Britney, we know and love was still kind of in there, ready to shine. But now, with each new video, whether it's dancing in circles, singing off key, or dropping selfies with emoji censorship, the conversation is shifting. Fans are left wondering, is Britney finally being herself, finally rebelling against decades of control, or is it Britney spiraling in plain sight? It's hard to watch because there's no handbook for this, right? No one knows what Britney is really going through. We don't know if she's expressing her freedom in the only way she knows how, or if she's just quietly asking for help without saying it outright. What we do know though is that, this is the same woman who once dominated the world stage and is now making headlines for Instagram, filters, messy floors, and strange accents. And that's the heartbreaking part. Britney Spears is still one of the biggest names in pop culture, but instead of talking about her music or her artistry, we're left analyzing every post like it's a cry for help. One thing's undeniable though, Britney Spears needs something. Support, protection, space, maybe even guidance. Whatever it is, she can't keep doing this forever, not with the world watching every move. Is Britney Spears okay? Fans are deeply concerned. It feels like every week Britney Spears makes headlines for something that leaves fans both worried and heartbroken. And the truth is, what we're seeing right now doesn't look like freedom, it looks like someone spiraling while the world watches. After years of fighting to escape her conservatorship, Britney is finally free, but instead of peace, her life seems more chaotic now than ever. From bizarre Instagram posts to concerning public outbursts to the people surrounding her, everything points to the fact that Britney Spears may desperately need help before things get worse. Let's break down what's really going on. First, her Instagram behavior. For years now, Britney's posts have been one of the biggest red flags. The endless videos of her twirling, dancing, staring into the camera. It's not just quirky anymore, it's unsettling. Fans notice her repeating the same captions, deleting posts and re-uploading them, and even writing cryptic messages that feel like cries for help. While she claims it's just, self-expression, many believe it's evidence of a much deeper mental health battle. Some even argue that Britney doesn't always seem fully in control of her own account, which only makes things creepier. Then there's the disturbing sword videos. Remember that? Britney posted herself dancing with two giant swords in her kitchen, twirling around as if it was totally normal. I mean, fans panicked, the video looked unhinged, and it was so concerning that even animal welfare authorities got involved because her dogs were seen panicking in the background. Britney later insisted, the swords were fake, but nobody was convinced. It wasn't just strange, it was dangerous, and it was yet another moment that made people question what she's, doing and if she's truly safe. And it's not just online, it's in real life as well. Britney's public behavior has raised eyebrows too. There was the shocking restaurant incident in Los Angeles where she was spotted allegedly talking to herself, mumbling incoherently, and covering her face while customers filmed her. Even her then husband, Sam Asghari, reportedly stormed out of the restaurant, leaving her behind. These aren't just paparazzi rumors. People there said it was disturbing to witness. It felt like Britney was unraveling right in front of strangers. Speaking of Sam Asghari, her relationship, has been another source of chaos. When Britney and Sam divorced, it wasn't just a breakup, it was explosive. Reports came out about violent fights, cheating accusations, and Britney allegedly attacking him in her sleep. Now, these stories paint a very troubling picture of someone struggling to cope with reality and lashing out at the people closest to her. And let's not forget her finances. There have been rumors that Britney is burning through her fortune at a very dangerous rate, lavish vacations, constant shopping, impulsive spending. Some insiders fear she could run out of money within a decade if this continues. Without any real structure, Britney might not, just lose her mental health, but everything she's worked so hard to gain. What makes this all even more heartbreaking is how it mirrors her infamous 2007 breakdown. The shaved head, the umbrella incident, the psychiatric holds. It feels like history could be repeating itself. Back then, Britney was placed under a conservatorship because the courts believed she couldn't make decisions for herself. Now more and more people are asking asking, did the system actually tell her again or fail her again by letting her go free without the proper support? Fans love Britney, no doubt. They want her to be okay, but right now her life looks like a cycle of instability and no one around her seems willing or able to step in. The question is, will someone finally intervene before tragedy strikes? Or will Britney Spears end up as yet another cautionary tale of what fame, trauma, and isolation can do to a person who never got the real help they needed? When Britney Spears posts on Instagram, fans expect dance videos, cryptic captions, or her signature chaotic energy, but recently her followers have been zooming in on something else, the shocking state of her own home. And let's just say it's raising some serious eyebrows. In several clips, viewers noticed clothes scattered across the floor, food wrappers tossed carelessly, and even what looked like stains on the walls and furniture. People immediately began flooding the comments saying her mansion looked less like a pop star's palace and more like a college dorm room after a wild party. One fan bluntly wrote, "Britney girl, please clean up," while another person added, "This is giving hoarder vibes." The messy backgrounds, have sparked intense debates about her well-being behind the scenes, with many questioning how someone with so much wealth could live in such disarray. The concern only grew when a video surfaced of Britney dancing in her living room with piles of laundry behind her. Now, instead of glamorous chandeliers and sparkling marble floors, fans saw clutter, random objects piled on tables, and a total lack of organization. It didn't look like the multi-million-dollar mansion fans imagined. Instead, it looked like chaos, and many are reading between the lines. I mean, for her supporters, the mess is more than a messy home. It's a symbol of her unstable mental state after years of public battles, court cases, and the conservatorship. Now, what really took things to another level was the bathroom footage. Britney casually filmed herself in front of the mirror, but fans couldn't ignore the background. Makeup products spilling everywhere, hair extensions tangled on the sink, and what looked like trash thrown on the counter. Now, some even claimed they spotted used tissues and food left on the counter and all over the place. This didn't feel like the bathroom of a global pop icon. It felt like a cry for help. And then there's her kitchen, where she shared a cooking video instead of giving fans cute lifestyle content. And all anyone could actually notice was the complete mess. Dirty dishes stacked sky high, countertops covered in random items, and open food packages left exposed. One person commented saying it looks like Britney hasn't had a proper cleaner in months, while another person claimed she's clearly not being cared for, the way she should. For a star worth millions, the shocking state of her kitchen only fueled more speculation about how isolated and unsupported she might actually be right now. But here's the wildest part. Insiders have revealed that Britney has always had a messy streak, even during her prime. According to people who's, worked with her, she never cared much about tidiness and would often leave behind a trail of clothes, makeup, and random items wherever she went. The difference now is that there's no team rushing in to fix it before the cameras roll. With Britney finally free to live on her own terms, fans are now seeing the raw, unfiltered version of her life. And it's not always the glamorous fantasy people imagine. Still, the internet can agree, that, these messy clips, they mean something. Some argue she's being human and that everyone, has a messy house sometimes. Others think the chaos is directly tied to her mental health struggles and a deeper cry for help. The truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. Now, Britney Spears has lived nearly her entire life in the public eye, and now that she's free, maybe she just doesn't care about appearances anymore. But the dirty, cluttered rooms caught on camera have sparked a big conversation, far bigger than house cleaning. It's about how Britney is really doing when the cameras stop rolling. Britney Spears needs serious help, but her family is way too scared to intervene. Where do we go from here? Well, let's dive in. Britney Spears' family is terrified to step in, and honestly, can you blame them? Every time they've tried to help, it's blown up in their faces. The public turns on them, the media twists every move, and suddenly they're the villains again. So now they do the one thing that feels safest. They stay away. Not because they don't care, but because they're scared. Scared of her reaction, scared of the backlash, and scared of being painted as the bad guys in the story that never ends. Meanwhile, Britney's out here posting videos that make it impossible to look away. Her latest one shows her in a hot pink dress, spinning, twirling, and smiling like everything's fine, except it's not. In the caption, she casually drops that she fell down the stairs at a friend, that her knee snapped out, and and that she actually popped it back into place herself. Let that sink in. She didn't go to the hospital, she didn't call for help, she just forced her own knee back in where it belongs and said a quick thank you God and went right back to dancing on camera. It's classic Britney, beautiful chaos, equal parts strength and heartbreak, the kind of movement that makes her fans worry and her family panic, because it just kind of shows, how alone she really is. Now, think about it from her family side. They've been burned before hard, they've seen what happens when they intervene, and they've lived through the conservatorship, the public court battles, the whole Free Britney movement that turned the entire world against them. So when they see her injured, spinning, talking about snapping her knee back into place, they don't actually rush in, they freeze, because no matter what they do, they lose. If they help, they'll be accused of controlling her again. If they don't help, they're called heartless. So they do nothing, and that nothing starts to look like neglect. But for them, it's just survival. Britney, on the other hand, keeps sharing, she keeps performing her pain online, and it's her only outlet, her only stage, and every post feels like a silent scream, I'm hurting, no one's here. But the people who should be there, the ones who know her best, are terrified of stepping into that fire again. So she dances through it, twisting, limping, smiling through the pain that's both physical and emotional. And while her knee might be back in place, everything else still feels fractured. Trust, family, and whatever kind of sense of safety she once had. That's the real story here, not just that Britney fell, but that she had to fix herself, literally. Her family's fear has left her stranded in her own spotlight, patching herself together in front of millions. And that's what makes it all so tragic, because even when she's down, broken, Britney Spears still has to be her own rescue.
Britney Spears has revealed that she has left the US and by extension Hollywood behind. She shared this shocking confession on her Instagram, posting a series of videos to her main feed. The first was her sharing her thoughts on the paparazzi, the second of her birthday cake, and in the third she confirmed she did in fact cross that border. Let's break down all three of these clips together. Video number 1, which was posted Tuesday, features the star expressing her dislike for the photos recently taken of her boarding, presumably, knowing what we know now, the plane she took to Mexico. In the video, Spears says, "I'm not really sure why the paparazzi have me going on a plane looking like I'm wearing a Jason mask. It doesn't even look like me." Personally, I think she looks fine in the pictures. I don't fully understand the Jason mask comment. I guess it might be the sunglasses combined with some shadows on her face that give that illusion to her. Either way, she isn't happy about the way the pictures made her look. The pop pics went viral just a few days ago, along with an exclusive video obtained by the Daily Mail. Both forms of media show Britney in a long white coat with a black wide-brimmed hat and sunglasses boarding a black plane. The outfit is not worrying. What had people looking twice at this moment was the lighter in Spears' hand. It was one of those long ones. It's called a grill lighter. It's hard to miss. The star had the lighter up to her lips. The inclusion of the lighter had people talking, as a viral story from a few years ago also featured Britney Spears and fire. The star dropped interesting lore about her life in an April 2020 workout tutorial that she had accidentally burned down her home gym. Her explanation as to how the fire started was, "I had 2 candles and yeah, one thing led to another and I burnt it down." Thankfully, no one was hurt, just a couple workout machines. Spears posted a throwback to that incident last December, once again bringing that to the forefront of her fans' minds. Now it's a year later, and as Spears is pictured with a lighter while entering a plane, some dedicated fans can't help but feel that worry again. But Spears herself has encouraged people not to worry in the first of the 3 videos. She speaks about the lighter as if it were unimportant, saying, "I don't know why I have a torch in my hand. Honestly, I think my friend accidentally gave that to me." Torch being the lighter. She made it clear that she wasn't holding the lighter with evil intent or anything like that, so everyone can relax about it. Right at the end of the video, Spears makes the claim that she is not turning 42, she is turning 5, and she has to go to kindergarten tomorrow. This has got the gossip sites talking. Clearly, people are saying that Spears has lost it, that this is really concerning or disturbing, and everyone is entitled to their own outlook on the situation, which means I am too. I think she's joking and just got her age mixed up. I personally have forgotten my own age before. I know my friends and family have too. It's a completely normal human thing to do. Sure, Spears is known to be experiencing some mental health struggles, but that doesn't mean she's completely lost her head. People have been making fun of this poor girl for years. She makes one small mistake, says she's turning 42 instead of 43, and all the headlines are talking about her mental decline. The comment about turning 5 in the kindergarten stuff, I will admit, is not exactly a normal thing to say, but it's pretty clear in this video and many other things that the star has posted and said that she doesn't appreciate how the media treats her or depicts her. She's constantly being torn apart, and her mental health / state is always up for discussion, and her intelligence is often reduced whenever people talk about her latest social media uploads and other activities. I wouldn't be surprised if this comment about how she is mentally 5 years old and starting school tomorrow is her way of responding to all that. There is also the manner of the lighter that could have factored into this. I'm bringing this up because it was mentioned in the same video. Commonly, people believe that you shouldn't give really young humans access to fire, right? They don't know that what they have is dangerous, they might hurt themselves or others without knowing, etc. Maybe having everyone so concerned about her, an adult, holding a lighter, struck a nerve, resulting in the joke about being 5. But moving on to the next video, this one was shared in the same post as the first. Of the trio, it's probably the most tame, I guess. It literally is just Spears showing off her birthday cake, and it looks good too. She describes it as a very, very cute baby cake, and she's not wrong. She goes on to say that her friend got it for her, I'm guessing because that would be wild if they got a cake for themselves on her birthday. Anyways, the third video posted, separately of the other two, is where Britney drops the news that she moved to Mexico. Honestly, good for her. That was at the end of the video though, so let's unpack everything that came before it. The video kicks off with Britney reiterating her disdain for the photos taken of her boarding the plane and just for the paparazzi in general. Again, making a comment about how she feels like the photos taken look nothing like her and make her look like she's wearing a white Jason mask. She goes on to call out the paparazzi for being cruel towards her over the years, especially in the way they take pictures of her. Paparazzi are still incredibly invasive today, but in the early 2000s when print magazines had million-dollar budgets for photos, it was definitely tougher and encouraged the behavior to continue and get worse as people looked for money shots. A resurfaced article from November 27, 2008, written for ABC News, details the disgusting lengths pops would go to for a picture. The article writes about how they had no problems taking pictures of Britney in a short dress with her undergarments exposed, and even worse, later taking photos of her in a miniskirt getting out of a car in which she is completely exposed. The average person, you would hope, would see something like that and put their cameras away to preserve the subject's modesty, but it seems when a magazine's budget for pictures is roughly $140,000 a week, morals shift. That number isn't something I pull from thin air. In the documentary Framing Britney Spears, the former photo director for US Weekly, Britton Stone, shared that that was the amount they could sometimes have at their disposal when it came to buying paparazzi pictures. Now, the money shot of Spears ended up being those taken on the night of her infamous 2007 public breakdown. The shocking depiction of Britney with a shaved head and attacking a car with an umbrella are burned into pop culture. The pop responsible for that moment actually did an interview for the same Britney doc in which he explained that that night was not a good night for her, it was not a good night for us, but it was a good night for us because it was a money shot. It was brought up that Britney frequently pleaded with the pops to leave her alone, to which this man said, "There were times when she was like, 'Can you leave me alone for the day?' But it wasn't like, 'Leave me alone forever.' You know what I mean?" Personally, I don't, but previously in the interview, he talked about how when Britney first started getting popped, she seemed more at ease with it. He even claimed that she would give up shots, meaning that she would wave and be friendly and smile for the camera. At this point in time, the paparazzi said that it was like she needed us and we needed her. Of course, things can start on a great note and end up completely horribly, like the position Spears has found herself in today, unable to do anything in public without a shutter clicking. In her video, Britney went on to say, "I know I'm not perfect at all by any means, but some of it is extremely mean and cruel," before dropping the shocking news, "That's why I've moved to Mexico." So it's looking like, as of right now, the reason Britney has left Hollywood and all its strings behind is because of the paparazzi and their years of harassment. The most recent posts to Britney Spears' Instagram are of her dancing in a shiny mini dress. The dancing videos, they're not new, she posts them all the time. Britney is a super talented dancer, that's what made her a stand-up performer at the height of her pop career,
now she exercises that muscle on her Instagram from time to time. It's unclear when these videos were taken, but it does look like she did in fact change locations. The caption for the first 2 videos was, "What are we watching, my friends?" The third one didn't have one. From what she's posting on social media, it looks like she is having a great time in Mexico. Truly, I hope she is, and is able to start a fantastic new life there. Also, happy 43rd birthday, Britney Spears.
We've been finding out more and more information about Diddy recently, and somehow Britney Spears has been involved in all of this. Yep, you heard that right, so let's look into her involvement. TriStar Sports and Entertainment Group is the celebrity management firm that previously came under fire for its alleged involvement in Britney Spears' conservatorship battle. Turns out though, they also have a connection to Diddy. The company's founder, president, and CEO is none other than Britney's former business manager, Lou M. Taylor, who she accused of playing a key role in the conservatorship's implementation in 2008. Now, we know that sketchy things were happening with Britney, so who knows what horrible things this group has done in connection to Diddy. Now, Lou actually managed Diddy too, as she confirmed it in 2019. Britney has also previously called out TriStar Services director Robin Greenhill, who was recently mentioned in a civil lawsuit against Diddy by producer Rodney Little Rod Jones. In 2021, it was revealed that Greenhill was in control of Britney's credit cards, medications, and that TriStar had allegedly used Britney's own money to hire a security team to surveil her during her conservatorship, which is honestly just crazy. Now, Britney even spoke out about Greenhill in her memoir, labeling her a weird blank lackey, and accused the pair, along with her own father, Jamie Spears, of bullying her. Now, it was also previously reported by the Los Angeles Times that Britney's legal team was investigating the alleged $18 million that TriStar obtained from her estate over the span of the conservatorship, which was terminated by a judge in November 2021 after 13 years. TriStar, Taylor, and Greenhill have all denied the allegations and have insisted that Britney's conservatorship was put forth by recommendation of legal counsel, not TriStar, and approved by the court for more than 12 years. Now, they mistreated Britney so poorly, and it appears that they helped Diddy cause harms to others. Now, Greenhill's name was back in the press this year after Rodney Little Rod Jones filed a $30 million lawsuit against Diddy, claiming that he mistreated and took advantage of him. Now, Rodney also claimed that Diddy made him a witness to multiple crimes against his own will as well. Now, how does this relate to Britney? Well, she accused the company and its founder, her former manager, Lou Taylor, of helping create and benefiting from the conservatorship agreement put in place by her father, Jamie Spears, in 2008, which she described as traumatizing in her court statements. Now, Britney claimed that TriStar had received $18 million in the conservatorship arrangement, even though Britney didn't have access to her own earnings. Now, the New York Times reported that Greenhill had been an important agent in the company's interest in the conservatorship by controlling her credit cards and medications well beyond what one would expect a pop star's management company to do. Now, a lot of the company's inner workings for how it manages its accounts are kept under lock and key, the paper reported, with 2 former employees saying they weren't allowed to access basic information like income statements or balance sheets. TriStar first tried to deny it helped originate Britney's conservatorship, which her attorney challenged by presenting the court with an email that showed its reps discussing the arrangement at its origination. The New York Times documentary about Britney's case included allegations that TriStar and Greenhill specifically had operated an elaborate surveillance apparatus to spy on the pop star. But how did this all start? Well, everyone knows about Britney's meltdowns in 2006 and 2007. Now, later, at the beginning of 2008, she was put on a 5150 hold in the hospital. A week after this, she was sent back to the hospital on a 5150 hold again, and her father Jamie was granted temporary conservatorship over the star. Now, soon after the conservatorship was in place, she said her father said, "I just want to let you know, I call the shots. You sit there in that chair and I'll tell you what goes on," she recalled. "I looked at him with a growing sense of horror. I'm Britney Spears now," he said. Now, Britney also spoke out about the 13-year conservatorship, and she hit out at her dad Jamie in the explosive memoir as she opened up about the unrelenting control her family had over her, which looking back makes her feel sick. Now, people in Hollywood knew that this was happening but didn't do anything. Finally, in 2019, fans started to realize that something was wrong, and they created the Free Britney movement. Now, with fans backing Britney up, she felt like she finally had a voice and requested the conservatorship to end. Now, she and her father appeared in court multiple times over the year, and on November 12, 2021, the conservatorship was finally over. Now, it seems like TriStar and its employees are always getting in trouble and should honestly be investigated. While Britney is free now, some people don't think she got the justice she deserved. Now that TriStar is intertwined with Diddy, maybe the company and its employees will now be held accountable. Now, Diddy, though, for his part, claims that he's innocent. Now, Diddy is currently awaiting trial at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. He's proposed different bail packages, but they've all been denied. Defense lawyer Alexandra Shapiro asked them to release Diddy on a $50 million bond, which would be backed by his $48 million Miami home and co-signed by several of his family members. Now, she also proposed that Diddy be monitored around the clock by security personnel, be subjected to at-home detention, and have no contact with alleged victims or witnesses. One of the judges who denied this package, Judge Robin Tarnofsky, sided with U.S. Attorney's argument that Diddy posed a risk if he were to be released for home detention. She said, "I don't believe that counsel has the ability to control you, given the very significant concerns I have, particularly because of substance use and what seems like anger issues. The danger, I think, is quite serious," she added of Diddy's release, deciding that the bond package his team offered would not assure his return to court or the safety of the community or lack of witness tampering. In a September 17th letter to the judge arguing for Diddy to be jailed until he was brought to trial, U.S. Attorney Damian Williams claimed that his office has the testimony of dozens of witnesses and victims to his serial mistreatment and evidence from dozens of his own electronic devices and those of his co-conspirators. Investigators have taken in more than 90 cell phones, laptops, cloud storage accounts, as well as at least 30 storage devices. They issued more than 300 grand jury subpoenas to obtain this evidence from communication providers, tech and social media companies, financial institutions, and Diddy's companies. Prosecutors allegedly have dozens of videos depicting Diddy's so-called freak-offs that corroborate witness testimony. So it's safe to say that there's plenty of evidence that will keep Diddy in jail.
Number 10. Madonna. Madonna's name is mentioned several times throughout Britney's memoir, 17 to be exact. As a young girl, Britney idolized Madonna and did everything to be like her. Once she gained some fame and was asked to attend award shows, Britney was bumping into Madonna all around the world. At one point in time, she was staying with music icon Cher when Madonna came by for a little visit. Britney claims that she found a mentor in Madonna. Her confidence helped her see a lot about her situation with a fresh set of eyes. While rehearsing for the Video Music Awards one year, Britney had the idea to get Madonna involved on her single Me Against the Music. She approached her directly and the rest is history. Reflecting on her past following her time spent with Madonna, Britney claims that if she could go back, she would attempt to be her own everything. Her boss, her own parent, her own friend, her own partner, because hey, that's what Madonna does. Spears was in awe of how much Madonna refused to compromise her artistic vision and integrity, something that she carried with her for years, and thanks Madonna for allowing her to witness. Number 9. Colin Farrell. Shortly after her breakup with Justin Timberlake, Spears revealed that she laid eyes on a handsome man named Colin Farrell. Farrell, who you may know from the first Fantastic Beasts film or one of his several dramatic roles, but who I know as Bullseye from Daredevil. She met Colin on the set of SWAT, and there was no security on the set, so Britney was just kinda able to drive up and pop by for a visit. One day while visiting the soundstage, the director of SWAT spotted her and asked if she would like to watch them film a scene, and Colin approached. According to Britney herself and Colin were involved in a 2-week brawl. What that translates to is they could not take their hands off each other. He even took her to the premiere of The Recruit, where she accidentally wore a pajama top instead of normal clothes. Quite the brawl indeed. She claimed that the fling was short and ended quick after she realized that she was just using Colin as a rebound, still not being over Justin Timberlake. Speaking of which, number 8. Justin Timberlake. One of the most discussed sections of her memoir is of course the revelation of what really happened when Britney Spears and her Mickey Mouse Club co-star Justin Timberlake got together. After meeting JT in the clubhouse, the two sparked a romantic connection. Their connection was so strong, but unfortunately Britney had to make a difficult decision in the year 2000 after she found out that she was pregnant. At first, Britney was actually pretty excited about the whole thing. In her book, she revealed that she had planned on starting a family with Justin at some point, but that this was just going to be a little bit earlier than she expected. It turns out that Justin was not so excited and told her that they were both too young to be starting a family, continuing to remind her that their careers would also need to be put on pause. This revelation may be part of the reason that Justin was reportedly so nervous leading up to the book's release. Britney revealed that if the decision had solely been left to her, she would have gone through with the pregnancy, but she decided to go the opposite route instead. She claims to have only done it because Justin so clearly did not want to be the father. In the book, she said that looking back, it's one of the most agonizing things she has ever experienced in her life. Number 7, Christina Aguilera. Christina and Britney met the same way that most young Hollywood people meet, while auditioning for the all-new Mickey Mouse Club. During the first round of auditions, neither of them made the cut, but they were reintroduced after they were recasted later on, even sharing a dressing room during their time on the show in the 90s. The up-and-coming starlets were pitted against each other in the media and were often made to look like rivals. In the memoir, not much light is shed on this aspect of the relationship, but she did mention that she was very confused when Christina was vocally in support of Britney and Justin getting back together in 2003, writing that she was surprised considering how negative she had been about the situation behind closed doors. She is also completely out of the conversation when she mentions her onstage kiss with Madonna in 2001, which we'll get into in a little bit. Later in the book, Britney actually compliments Christina on her ability to handle her nerves when it comes to live TV appearances. However, Britney also revealed that herself and Christina would often employ the same dancers and would all go out and hang out together, you know, have a couple of bevies and celebrate. But under Britney's conservatorship, she was made to remain sober. She explained that Christina was a bit messed up, indulging a bit too much for Britney's liking. Britney admitted that it would have been nice to let loose with her friends at the time, but now that she's out of the conservatorship, her and Christina are free to party. Number 6, Rachel McAdams. For anyone who may have forgotten, Britney is not just famous in the world of music, but she actually attempted to get a little acting career off of the ground for a brief period in the early 2000s. Following her turn in the film Crossroads, she auditioned for a big role in the rom-com The Notebook. That's right, The Notebook was almost a movie featuring Ryan Gosling and Britney Spears, literally. She got so far into the casting process that it was down to either her or Rachel for the role. In the end, as we all know, they went with Rachel McAdams, but that is a choice that Britney fully supported. Apparently, she started to get cold feet the further into the process that they went. Instead of being in The Notebook, she went on to work on her album In the Zone, putting her creative efforts to good use despite this Hollywood rejection. While we may never know what that movie would have turned out like, I made a little something to help you visualize it. Look! It's Britney Spears in a boat with Ryan Gosling. Thanks, Photoshop. Number 5, Elton John. The Rocket Man himself actually played a pivotal role in Britney being able to find her musical voice after her struggles with her conservatorship. In her memoir, Spears shared that she hadn't been thinking about recording music until Elton John reached out to her to collaborate on Hold Me Closer, a modern duet version of his hit song Tiny Dancer, a song that Britney claims to have blasted on repeat growing up. Spears and John had met almost a decade earlier and got along very well, but she was beyond excited to actually work with this guy who she idolized growing up. The result of their collaboration was Britney's first #1 song and longest charting single in over 10 years. Number 4, Justin Timberlake. Again, hey! It's JT! Again! Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're not done with this guy. Part of the memoir revealed that the baby thing happened, but another part revealed exactly what this man did to break up with Britney. He sent her a 2-word text. That was it. Following the breakup, Justin wrote and released the song Cry Me a River based on his experience with Britney, claiming that she had cheated on him while they were together, which kinda prompted the 2-word text breakup. The breakup happened while Britney was on set for the overprotected Dark Child remix music video in LA. But towards the end of the second day of filming, the director Chris Applebaum told Page 6 that Spears suddenly went missing for almost an hour. The director found Britney in her trailer on the floor with her legs crossed, bawling her eyes out while her makeup smudged. She said nothing but showed him the text that she had received from Justin that simply said the words, "It's over." 2 words was all that he felt necessary to end things with a woman who almost had his kid, and I'm not really sure how to feel about that. Number 3, Natalie Portman. Who would have guessed that Natalie Portman, of all people, would be mentioned in a memoir by Britney Spears? But as luck would have it, this is a small world, and the Thor Love and Thunder star actually crossed paths with Britney when they were both understudies in the off-Broadway production of Ruthless. They both played a sociopathic star named Tina Denmark, a role that Britney claims felt close to home for her. That's not a good thing to say about that role. Following her split from Justin Timberlake, she co-hosted a New Year's Eve party in New York with Natalie as a callback to their theater days. Now, I've never pictured Britney Spears on stage doing anything other than singing, but the idea of her also acting in a live show is kinda neat. Hey, Broadway people, call Britney and Natalie up, get them casted together in a production of Wicked or something. I'd watch that. Britney can be Elphaba, and Natalie can be whoever she wants because she's Natalie frickin' Portman. Number 2, Mariah Carey. Despite being a mega pop star herself, Britney had a mega fangirl moment when she met Mariah Carey. In the early years of her career, Britney had been a longtime fan of Mariah's work. As a kid, she would practice performing by making homemade music videos of herself dancing and singing to Carey's music. She introduced herself to Mariah by knocking on her dressing room door backstage at an award show that the two had been attending. She details that Mariah was a sweetheart and immediately said yes to taking a picture together, but in true Mariah fashion, she would not accept anything but good lighting and the right angles. She did everything she was told by Mariah in order to get the right angle, and Britney claimed that Mariah knows her stuff, and the pic looked incredible. She knew she had won an award that night, but she could not compare her trophy to her picture with her childhood hero. And at number 1, Max Martin. While working on her first album, Britney was encouraged by record label executives to meet a producer from Sweden. She and Max Martin met to have a little chit-chat. Max went on to become one of pop music's most successful songwriters and producers. Their dinner was private, there were no assistants or label representatives, it was just them and some steak. Within seconds of sitting down, a candle fell over and set their table on fire. They ran out of the room, and the rest is history. Despite their first meeting literally going up in flames, he was impressed with her talents and she with his skills as a producer. They started working together immediately after, with Britney flying back and forth to Sweden to record.